Hello, my darlings. Risa coming to you live on Friday for a little heart to heart conversation. Happy to be with you today. We are talking about, are you expecting too much from your relationship? This is for you today. If you're feeling frustrated, you feel like you've been spending so much energy trying to see if you can get your partner to change. You're wondering, is it possible for them to change? And maybe you're even starting to question your expectations and are they realistic? So this is for you today. Please type in, say hi if you're here, if you're on the recording, and type in any questions, comments as we go along. I'll be going back to look for those. So this is the mistake that I made and that I see so many people making, is that we just get so focused on what's not working, what we're not liking about what our partner is doing, and we're trying to figure out how we can get that other person to change. And so my question for you is, how is that working out for you? And I know it doesn't, I've never ever seen it work when our focus is on trying to get someone else to change, because we just, honestly, we don't have control, right? Would you agree? Type in if you agree. We don't have control over other people and how they're going to choose to show up, how they're behaving. And what's the problem? When we're trying to do that, it just creates more frustration. It creates resentment for both people, right? Nobody likes that. Nobody wants to feel like you're trying to control them. And so what do we have to do instead? My invitation for you is to just, for now, just to stop. Let's get the focus off that other person and trying to fix and control and change them. And we've got to get the focus back on ourselves, because we don't have control over other people. But you know what? We always have the power to choose how we want to respond in any given situation. That's where our power lies. It doesn't lie with trying to get other people to be different than how they're being. And just to be really clear, that's not to be saying that you should be accepting unacceptable behavior. And it's not to say that there aren't things that would need to change in order for you to want to stay and be happy. But when we're trying to, whatever way, shape, or form our efforts are taking to try and get that other person to change, whether it's yelling and screaming or trying to get them to go to counseling or giving them silent treatment or whatever, whatever you're doing to try and get them to change, ultimately, I would venture to say I've never seen it work that way. Maybe for a little while, if you put up enough of a fuss. Have you ever had that experience? I've seen that with a lot of people too. It's like, yeah, if we complain enough, if we yell and scream, then maybe they'll comply for a little while, but it's really not fixing the problem. Right? We don't want to have to be the ones that are nagging all the time, or whatever the situation is. So this is what I want you to know, is that we've got to get our focus off that other person and trying to fix and change and control them. We've got to get the attention back on ourselves. Know that what's within our power is to choose how we want to respond. And so we actually do have a lot of power to influence the situation. I always say the relationship, it's like a dance, right? And it's probably not so fun right now. But we start to change how we're choosing to respond, and that changes the dance. So I talk about this in a lot of the trainings that I do, the power you have as one person to shift a relationship dynamic. And maybe you're still trying to figure out if you can make it work, or maybe you kind of already know that it probably never is gonna. But regardless, this is for you. This is, I always say, maybe I don't like the situation right now, but I can like me in it, and I can take care of me in it. So whatever your situation, it's just, I invite you to stop trying to fix and change and control anybody else. Let's get the focus back on ourselves and choose how we want to respond. And so the power of one, we have a tremendous amount of power to actually influence that dynamic. But what do we got to do? We got to, like I said, we got to first of all just get the focus back on ourselves. Maybe we need to get some support to uplevel our communication skills and how to set firm boundaries. But you know what? We gotta, what it is, like we gotta do our own inner work. We gotta, it takes two to tango, right? We gotta look at our own patterns, and we gotta look at our expectations. And so I know we're talking about expectations also today. So, you know, and I talked about this before too with my experience. Like, I just did not realize how much I was needing, depending on my partner, to make me happy and to kind of give me a sense of security and sort of a sense of identity. And so I would just invite you to think about in terms of, you know, are you expecting, sometimes our expectations aren't realistic, they're too high. And I talked about this before. It's like nobody, happiness, we've got to first be able to do that for ourselves. We've got to be in good, right, loving relationship with ourselves. That's like that's the big mistake that I see pretty much everybody making to some degree. And we're looking to someone else to kind of fill that, some sort of a need in us for love, for approval, for happiness. And we've got to first, for this is what I learned, to be what it takes to be in a healthy relationship is like we've got to come to it feeling like I'm already whole and happy within myself, and I like who I am, and I know how to make myself happy, and I feel good. I feel I'm good. I always say, like, the relationship is like you're like the cake, and the relationship's like the icing on the cake, and we can't really survive on icing. I don't know how well we can really survive on cake either, but anyway, you get the metaphor. So so just I invite you to just think about that a little bit. Am I expecting this person to show up in a way that, for me, in order for me to be okay, for me to feel happy? And then I would tell you that that's probably the definition of an expectation as a disappointment waiting to happen, because nobody can do that for you. I talked about this the other week, but everybody's just a human being, and they're probably having a hard enough time to try and just make themselves happy and be okay, right? And so, no, that's a lot of pressure to put on someone, and nobody can do that for you. So that's the first thing, is just, would you be willing to just ask yourself, am I looking to this other person to fill a need in me that I really need to start figuring out how to fill myself? And maybe you're on the other end of the spectrum are your expectations too low? Maybe they're too high or unrealistic, and maybe they're also too low. And what I really want to affirm for you, if you feel like you need to settle, if what you should expect in a good, healthy relationship, you should expect someone to care about you and to care about how you feel, and be willing to put in some effort into whatever is going on if you're trying to improve your relationship. And so that's another thing is, if we're unhappy in our relationship and we're settling, if you feel like you're settling for a partner that, like, these are things we should expect. We should expect a sense of mutual support, a sense of trust, being able to be honest with each other. And I know that a lot of the big problems that I hear are just, a lot of communication is probably like the number one issue that both men and women actually say they want to be able to learn how to do better. It's actually a skill that probably nobody's ever taught us. I know I didn't till I started having problems. I studied a lot about communications. That's where I learned a lot about what it takes to have good constructive communication. But just looking at are you settling for something that's not really, the other person's not really putting in the effort, or just having that kind of a good container. Like it should feel like a safe container physically, mentally, emotionally. And maybe that feels really far off from where you are, but so here's the invitation again, is like, all right, well, you know what? It is what it is right now. Let me look within myself and see, am I just settling for this because I feel like I need to, out of need, maybe out of a kind of an unhealthy need, or, maybe I just need to get some support to up-level my communication skills, so I just invite you to start to think about your expectations. Are they too high? Are they too low? But it all comes back to us, right? That old Native American proverb, when we're pointing a finger at someone else, there's 4 of them pointing back at us. So that's where our power is, darling. So I really invite you to just take a breath right now. Just know wherever you are, whatever your situation is, it's okay. Be gentle with yourself. And I invite you today to just start to, let's take all that energy that we're putting into trying to change this other person, and all that frustration, all that resentment. Just for now, let's just stop, get the focus back on ourselves, and just start to look within ourselves. How do I need to show up for me right now? This is always our bottom line question. What do I need to do today to take care of me? What do I need to do right now? Take care of myself in this situation. And I just really want you to know that you deserve to be happy. You know this, right? And drop a yes in the comments if you know that you deserve to be happy. And it's okay if you're not right now, but you deserve to get it figured out. Either let's figure out if you can make this work, if it can, if it can be healed, if you can make it feel good again, get the support you need to be able to do that. Or let's figure out if it's going to be time to release it, if it's not going to work out. And so, none of that happens without support. Because I imagine if you knew what to do, you probably would have done it by now. So I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're listening to this. And I'm really excited to share with you that I'm going to be doing another free masterclass coming up Tuesday, March 22nd, 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific. It's going to be about an hour, and then we'll have some private time for questions and answers. It's going to be live on Zoom. Put a link into the comments as soon as we're done here. So just click below to register, and we're going to take a deeper dive into all of this, help you get it figured out. How do you know when it's time to go? We're going to talk about what's not working and can you fix it? What do you really need to be happy? And what are some good criteria for decision making? How do you really know when it's time to go, and what does that decision-making process look like? So click that link and come on and join me on Zoom. I'd love to see you. I'm excited to support you with this masterclass. And type in any questions, comments. Thanks to Cheryl. I'll be going back to look for those. Give this a thumbs up if it was helpful for you today. That gives me some feedback as to how I can best support you. And I will hope to see you at the masterclass. All right, lots of love. Remember, take good care of you. Bye for now.